Hi, it's Rob from the Brush and Boltgun. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to paint a Crimson Fists chapter badge. So the first thing that we're going to do is use some Vallejo Black to do a black circle onto the shoulder pad. I'm going from the images of the Space Marines, the Crimson Fist chapter that are on the 40k wiki, and the badges there all have the black circle with the red trim and then the red fist in the middle of the circle. So we're starting off by putting a black circle onto the shoulder pad here. You see me rotating the thing round because I find it easier to do kind of the bottom left portion of a circle. So by rotating it round I can constantly do that kind of area where I can seem to get that smoother curve round, like so. And once you've got the basic thing sorted, you can then touch up the areas around that so you've got the nice circular shape. Next up we're going to use some Citadel Khorne Red. We are going to use this to do the circle around the outside of the black circle. So I'm trying to do this like a brush width apart. Just getting a little bit of Khorne Red on your brush, and then again you'll see me rotating it quite a bit because I prefer to do that bottom left corner. You can get to a certain point and then it becomes a bit trickier. See me trying, but it doesn't give you quite the same effect, so rotate that round and I'll be able to do the rest of it. So always try and keep the part that you're painting in the position that you're more comfortable painting it. Once you've got that circle on there, you can just touch that up, get it so it's the same thickness all the way round. Then we can start on the fist. So what we're doing here is we're doing a vertical line in the middle, and that is going to represent the bottom point on the fist because it has those kind of 3 points with almost webbing between them. By webbing I mean sort of like arch between the parts. I can't see this too well because of the light, so I'm going to try and angle it a little bit differently so you can see it there. So I've done a vertical down and a cross piece. Cross piece is slightly wonky there, but that's not a problem, we can fix that as we go along. Now we're doing the points coming out, which will be the other two elements of the kind of webbed area at the bottom of the fist. Like so. And from there you're just going to do a little arch. It doesn't matter if these aren't perfect because we can come back and we can touch them up at a later point. You're just getting the basic shape of how you do it there. Once we finish this fist, I do another little one on an insignia on the little shield on his chest there. So that shows you how to do it again because it's a bit difficult to see on this, so I did a different one so that you'll be able to see that at the very end here. So then we're going to work on the thumb. Now the bottom part of the fist where you've got that webbing, the top of that is the width of the fist above, so you know where your boundaries are when you're painting on this fist here. So started with the thumb because that's probably the biggest feature on the whole of the upper part of the fist. So we are going to do that thumb first. Once you get that thumb in a place where you're happy with, you now know that you've got to do 4 fingers from slightly in from that thumb to the edge of the fist on the right hand side, the edge of that webbed bit, so that you know exactly how wide it's got to be. So you just need to plan where you're going to put those 4 fingers. And thankfully by painting these on, the fingers do work out to be about the width of the tip of a medium layer brush if you're pressing down a little bit, which is quite handy. And once you've got that rough part into shape, you can then fill in the gap underneath. The only thing that you want to be doing is making sure that you are leaving a gap around each of the edges so all the pieces aren't joined together. Now just there I used a little bit of black before starting to do the palm of the hand, and that was just so that I could level off those fingers and get the fingers into the right position. So that's what you want to be doing when you're doing this. You don't try and do it all in one go, you can touch it up as you go along and just make sure that all those little different bits are where they should be. once you've finished the general thing, if you need to, you can go between the fingers and like between the finger and thumb and across the top part of like the wrist of that fist using a thin brush and a little bit of black just to get those lines in place. So here I've actually switched to a Wargamer character brush from Army Painter, and that's just so that I can touch up all these areas, get the colour a little bit better and a little bit thicker. It's got a really fine point on it, so you're able to get into all those corners without too much risk of spreading the paint around. And that'll just allow you to brighten up the areas of the fist that are possibly slightly thinner or a bit streaky. Once you finish that, just use a little bit of the blue around the edges, a little bit of black around the inside of the edge, and any kind of red, just to touch that up and to finish that off. So here I'm just going to show you me doing it quickly using white on this little shield here. You'll be able to see it a little bit better than it was on the previous one. So you're getting that basic, almost like a wonky E shape. And then you want to put the webbing underneath. So you get like a gentle U going from each point. If you don't get them spot on, it doesn't matter. You can touch that up if you want to using some of the blue. You'll see me touching bits up as I go along, and a bit towards the end as well, touching up the blue and the red just to get those points better, get that looking neater. The basic thing is to get the rough idea of the shape down in one go, and then once you've got that roughly in place, you can work on the rest of it, and then at the end of it tidy it all up by going around the edges and getting those points nice and crisp. That's it. So once you've got the bottom part done, we're just going to tidy that up. Keep using a little bit of white on there just to get that as neat as you want to. Now, again, like we did on the shoulder pad, we're going to work on that thumb. You can see it a lot easier here. So you're getting that thumb going out a little bit towards the side, and then you want to do an angled part for the middle section of the thumb, and then bring in the actual thumb itself. Sorry if you can hear any knocking, there's a cat foraging around on my desk. So get that little thumb pointing inwards, and then you want to get those four fingers in place. Now when you're doing the four fingers, again, it's roughly the width of the tip of the brush when you're dragging it downwards, which makes it nice and easy. You also want to make sure that those middle two fingers are slightly higher than the rest. And once you've got those in place, you just want to fill up the little gap between the fingers and the initial part that we did, the base, like the wrist of the fist. And then that is what you end up with. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content. Also, think about subscribing to some of our other social media, linked below. Thanks very much. If you like the channel and you enjoy the content and you'd like to support us, you can find links to our Ko-fi and Patreon pages linked below. Thanks very much.